Joining us, I'm Lynn Brooks.
And I'm Terry Brewer. People are talking today about last night's installment of Real Sports on HBO that featured former Auburn football players talking about being paid to play. The show also featured former Bama star Tyrone Prothro.
That is right. First, what the former players had to say about Auburn. Stanley McClover, Chaz Ramsey, and Troy Reddick said they received multiple payments from unidentified Auburn supporters to play at Auburn. A fourth player, Raven Gray, was injured and never played for Auburn, but said he got money during his recruitment. Now, HBO says Auburn officials chose not to comment on the report, but Auburn head football coach Gene Chizik says he was not contacted ahead of time. The issue of how college athletes are compensated can draw some pretty heated opinions.
I agreed with the program. I think that college players should get compensated for going to school, staying all 4 years, and graduating with a degree.
I did, of course, stay tuned and watch the Auburn piece as well. And, you know, you don't know. You don't know how creditable those young men are. But a couple of them sounded pretty interesting to me.
Like the kind of legacy we have here, players want to come here. A lot of other schools, they got to use bribes or other things, but a place like Alabama, it's not too much of a choice.
Our cameras actually caught the Real Sports crew while they were here in Tuscaloosa working on part of this story. Tyrone Prothro played for the Alabama Crimson Tide until a heartbreaking injury ended his career. And back in February, we caught up with Real Sports reporter Bernie Goldberg when he was here interviewing Prothro. At the time, we did not know the full subject of that program. You will hear from Tyrone Prothro about his appearance on the show and what he thought about that program tonight on WVUA News at 6.
And speaking of sports, the Crimson Tide men's basketball team is in New York City getting ready to play for the school's first NIT title ever. Now, Bama defeated Colorado on Tuesday night to make it into tonight's championship game. The game starts at 6 and Bama will face Wichita State. The Tide played in the title game back in 2001 but lost. We'll have full coverage of the Tide in the Big Apple later at 5 and 6 and tonight on WVUA News at 10. Now the latest on the future of the Partlow Developmental Center in Tuscaloosa. Governor Robert Bentley is removing the specific closing date of September.
Bentley says he wants to inspect Partlow before he decides what to do. This decision came after the governor met with officials from West Alabama and also the Department of Mental Health. And despite the removal of the closing deadline, Bentley spokeswoman says the process of transferring patients to community-based care will continue.
And on another note, another act is now announcing plans to appear at the Tuscaloosa Amphitheater. Comedian Jeff Dunham will appear there on July 8th. Dunham and his characters are bringing their identity crisis tour to the amphitheater, and tickets go on sale April 29th at 10 a.m. For information on tickets, visit our website, WVUATV.com, and click numbers and links. And stick around later at 5. We will have a guest live in our studio talking about this weekend's amphitheater grand opening.
There's new information about the recently deadly infections in Alabama hospitals. Alabama health officials say hospital patients ranging in age from 38 to 94 were among the 9 people who died. Officials are linking the infections to contaminated feeding liquid supplied by a Birmingham-based pharmacy company. Everyone who received the feeding liquid was seriously ill before getting it. Officials say 10 people survived. Of the 9 who died, all but 1 was in the Birmingham area.
On your Crime Watch, an update to a story we brought you last night at 5. A Tuscaloosa police officer is now charged with first-degree sexual abuse. The Tuscaloosa Police Department says Jason Thomas is the suspect. He was arrested and put in the Tuscaloosa County Jail on $7,500 bond. TPD says Thomas is an 11-year veteran of the department. Investigators say the charges stem from an incident early Sunday morning off Highway 216.
Once veterans finish their military service, they go back to civilian life, and that often includes getting a job. And of course, jobs are not always easy to come by these days, so helping find a job was what an event this morning at the Tuscaloosa VA Medical Center was all about. Many veterans were there ready to start the next chapters of their lives outside of the military.
It definitely opens up a gamut of potential employers for me to actually network with and hopefully be able to get a job with or a long-term career.
Something else the Tuscaloosa VA Medical Center offers to troops now returning home from serving in Iraq and their families is a transition center. Some of those service members have suffered injuries or other illnesses from their duty, and the transition center is a way to provide care to them. Next month marks 1 year since the oil rig explosion in the Gulf of Mexico that killed 11 people and started the Gulf oil spill.
To honor the lives that were lost, the owner of the rig is planning a flyover for relatives of the victims. 3 families say they have been notified about Transocean's plans for a flyover at sea and a private memorial service. Several families are still pressing legal claims against the companies involved in the oil spill. And in Japan, officials say groundwater underneath the troubled nuclear power plant has measured at 10,000 times the government health standard for radiation. But company officials say they do not believe any drinking water has been affected. Japan's health ministry is on alert after a cow slaughtered for beef near the plant was found to have radioactive contamination slightly higher than the legal limit. The United Nations has delivered $2 million in aid to Japan. And in Libya, leader Muammar Gaddafi is calling on leaders of countries attacking his forces to resign. Gaddafi issued a statement after 2 high-profile departures from his regime. He accused Western leaders of being affected by power madness and wanting to start another war between Muslims and Christians. This comes after the resignation of the Libyan foreign minister who defected. On a much different note, imagine getting a multi-million-dollar pay raise at work. Well, it's not exactly what it sounds like.
No, but it's pretty much what a group of employees in New York got. Meet the 7 lucky winners of the Mega Millions jackpot. This morning, the 7 co-workers came forward to claim their $319 million prize in Schenectady, New York. The group ranges in age from 29 to 63. They all work at a state office and pooled together for this prize. So was there an unlucky 8th co-worker who missed out?
All right. John Cutie,
we keep a list and we ask everybody on the floor. There is no real 8th person. There's several other great people that we work with, and some of us got in and some of us didn't.
Lucky them. And now here's how much those people who didn't win, once taxes are taken out and the jackpot is split, each winner will take home about $19 million, which is just slightly more than Terry Brewer's salary.